Hey guys, welcome to my promised FAQ. Today's background footage is from the PC version of Spelunky, which is free and definitely worth a look if you like roguelikes that will make you throw your controller. Seriously, it's a very frustrating game. I don't know how the footage went, I haven't recorded it yet, but I expect that the footage will demonstrate why it's frustrating and I can't play it for very long at one time. So before we get into the FAQ portion, I have a couple of quick things to go over. First, you'll notice that my XCOM playthrough is on hiatus for a little bit, but it will be back. The reason for this is that I recently ordered some new computer parts in the Black Friday sales. For those who are curious, I'm getting a GTX 680 graphics card, an i7 3770K processor, I'm not really sure how you should pronounce that number, and 16 gigabytes of RAM. I'm really excited about this because it should let me record much higher quality videos of games that are more demanding than games like, Isaac and FTL. And that stuff should be here on Friday, and when that happens I'll go back to recording XCOM, as well as maybe revisiting some other games that were frustrating on my old setup, like Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Chivalry. Both kind of had some low frame rate issues that made it tough to do well. And in the future, of course, I'll have a much wider scope of games I can consider recording as well. So in the meantime, I'm going to just fill up this week with Isaac and maybe a couple of first looks, and then on Friday we'll be back to XCOM. I'm sure most of you will be fine with that, though, judging by how many more views Isaac gets than XCOM, but, the other thing I wanted to touch on is an update to my TGN situation. A lot of people were confused because I said I was cutting ties with TGN, and I'm still partnered with them. I still have ads on my videos and stuff like that. That's because my contract with TGN stipulates a 30-day lock-in. So if TGN follows their contract, it should be out on December 18th at the very latest. But I've heard from people who have had to wait longer than that. But it seems like those cases are kind of being cleared up as things go on, so maybe it was just a hiccup. So hopefully I'll be out on time and ready to apply to TGS, which is almost certainly going to be my final decision for a new network. I should note that I did actually finally get paid for December, like 12 days late. So I will still be getting paid for the ads currently on my videos. They're not going to stop paying me after I'm unpartnered. So there's no reason, if you were watching my ads to support me, there's no reason to stop doing that necessarily. Though, as always, you guys are welcome to use AdBlock if you feel like you wouldn't want to watch my content otherwise. I leave that decision up to you, but just know that, it still is a relevant decision. You're not just feeding money to TGN. I do get paid for the stuff that's up now. But anyways, let's get on to some questions. First of all, the generic stuff. I am a 23-year-old male who lives in California and is single. With that out of the way, real questions. One major question I keep getting is whether I would consider doing a head-to-head with Northernlion or any other kind of collaboration. I've responded to this question on Twitter in the past by saying that I've considered it in the same way that I've considered having sex with Felicia Day. That is to say, I'd like to, but it's not up to me. The dude has nearly 25 times as many subscribers as me, so if I messaged him asking to do videos to me, or with me rather, it would be, I would just be acting like a small YouTuber begging for handouts, essentially. There's nothing in it for him. And, he just plugged me on his channel, which was super nice of him, so I don't want to, go right back and be like, that was great, but how about you do a little bit more for me here? I'm sure at this point that he's aware of the possibility of that happening. People have been commenting on his videos and getting top comments about it and tweeting at him. I've seen a lot of people doing stuff like that. So if he doesn't want to do it, then that's totally understandable and I'm fine with that. But I think he knows at this point, so the fact that he hasn't approached me yet probably means that he doesn't feel like it. But maybe if I catch up to him a little bit more subscriber-wise, so that I feel like I have something to actually bring to the table, maybe then. But right now I'm not even going to ask. It would be impolite. Another question. People keep on asking me to do facecams. Here's the thing with facecams. They can be done well in a way that makes the videos slightly more appealing, but they can also be done very poorly in a way that makes the entire video look tacky. I think people are underestimating how much money and effort goes into making a facecam good enough to be a positive addition to a video. If I wanted to do a facecam in a way that wouldn't actively make my videos look worse, I would need to invest in a quality web camera and a good lighting setup and a backdrop and everything. I would have to have like a whole visual recording setup instead of just my audio recording setup that I have now. And even then, I would still have to, like, you know, naturally my face isn't very interesting to look at. I would have to be consciously making myself more expressive. And, you know, conscious effort is something that's at a premium while I'm also trying to play a game and keep up commentary. So most of the time I have a feeling my face would fall kind of flat and you'd just be staring at me, staring at you, essentially. And beyond that, it would also add time to the recording process to set all that up, and the editing process and the rendering process. It would just add time to every step. So no, I'm not going to do a face cam, and that's why. It's a big investment for something that could, at the very best, be a slight improvement, and it's just not something I want to focus on right now. Another common question is, do you plan to play any story-based games on your channel, or will it remain randomized, you know, like roguelikes and roguelike-likes and stuff like that? I've learned as I've made this channel that games that are static and story-driven really turn me off for Let's Playing. I enjoy those games in my free time, but Let's Playing them is very difficult for me. Because to me, the most interesting part in a Let's Play is seeing the decisions that people make when they're faced with new or unusual situations that people wouldn't have seen before. You know, I think that's interesting. So a lot of that magic is lost in your typical linear game because there's a tendency for solutions to be sort of contrived. Like, the designer will have a very specific solution in mind. People who have played the game before already know what it is, and you'll look like an idiot if you can't figure it out. And then, like, you can't think of creative solutions, you can only think of the solution, and that makes the whole thing feel very artificial. I feel like there's a difference between figuring out that shooting this one cable makes a bridge because that's the solution a developer had in mind, and thinking of a novel way to get out of a difficult room in Isaac where you have this random set of abilities that the developer couldn't have foreseen, so every situation is fresh and you have to approach every situation differently. So obviously not all non-randomized games sort of fall into this category of very contrived, scripted gameplay, but the vast majority are. So I would say what determines whether I would want to Let's Play a game is whether that game presents the player with unique choices, or whether you're just going through like a predefined narrative that will be the same every single time. Next question. Did you ever beat XCOM in Iron Man before this series? Iron Man, yes. Classic mode rather than normal mode, no. I've never played XCOM without Iron Man, because Iron Man is kind of what makes the game interesting to me. If you're not familiar, Iron Man is where you can't save and go back to a save, it just auto-saves all of your progress. So if you make a mistake, you're stuck with it, and you have to adapt to that and go from there. So no, I've never played like non-Iron Man, but I have a feeling this person was actually asking about classic mode, because I make that mistake all the time anyway. So I've played classic mode before, but I've never gotten nearly as far as I am in the Let's Play right now. Next question is, if you had your choice of having sex with Ryan, Northernlion, or Mike, Foxman, who would you choose? It depends. If they're into it and everything is consensual, I would say Ryan. If it's a rape, then Fox. Foxman has that rapeable quality about him, you know? He's asking for it, really. Next question is, what is your favorite alcoholic beverage? Whiskey and Coke is my favorite alcoholic beverage. I really like it. Probably if you're asking for a specific whiskey, I think my favorite whiskey is actually Bulleit Bourbon. Around here you can get it at Trader Joe's, and I've also seen it at like Bevmo and stuff, but it's not super common. It's a nice whiskey. It's sort of middle of the line price-wise. I don't get into the super expensive stuff, but it's delicious for the price. It's like $20 for a 750 milliliter, so yeah, middle of the road there. Can you say something on German in the next Isaac part? 9! That wasn't me promising that I would say 9 things in German, I was just saying no. Would you rather fight a horse-sized cat or half a dozen cat-sized horses? Dude, a horse-sized cat is a lion I'm not. I'm gonna fight a dozen cat-sized horses for sure. At least you can kill them one at a time and sort of dwindle them down. A horse-sized cat would just eat me. That would be terrifying. Next question: how are you preparing for December 21st? I am reinstalling the game Revelations 2012. And finally, from Zen here, this silly question: His Holiness Dick Judgment has decreed that you may only play one game for the rest of your life, peon. You may have everything you need to play this game, including the system to play it with and an internet connection. Pray for wisdom as you make your choice. Dick Judgment will not take your decision lightly. I would say Barbie Supermodel, but Dick Judgment already has plenty to judge me on without me giving him any more ammo. It's actually a tough choice. I would probably choose actually an MMO like Guild Wars 2. I haven't actually played it, but I would try to find a good MMO with a lot of content in it, because it's easy to sink a lot of time into MMOs, and you can talk to people while you're doing them and everything. You know, it has a lot of different gameplay aspects that I enjoy. You know, there's a progression there and the social aspect, so I think it would be easier to deal with being stuck with an MMO forever than another type of game. But anyway, that is the last question that I'm going to answer in this FAQ. Thank you guys for watching, and if you liked this, let me know. Maybe even leave a like on the video, and maybe in the future I'll make more FAQs like this. If you leave some questions in the comments of this one, then I'll come back and use those for the next one. And of course, there's still some other ones on the list that I didn't answer, but honestly, I actually, like, looking at what I had written down for my sort of loose script that I used for this, thought it was going to be a lot longer than it was. But anyway, getting off point here. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time.